I wouldn't give up high prospects for rentals, but there were guys out there who are not rentals. I think you could have acquired by still protecting your top 100 prospects.
And I can get that point. I'm just at the point where you were really going to get a savior at the trade deadline. Could there have been some moves made? You can obviously debate that, but with this strategy, I think that I don't think it's the worst strategy in the world, because when you look at how they did it last year, they lacked variety. Pitching chaos was the big word that they used. Yeah. You know, you had a lot of just mix of relievers, and you had one starting pitcher, and you had to do that out of necessity. This year, it looks a little bit different. I think you'll have more options of guys that hopefully will be healthy around that time, and you can interchange parts. We all know A.J. Hinch is great at playing the matchups. I think this works right into his favor, and you go with the hot hand right now. Now, multiple.
You say it's hopefully. That scares the hell out of me.
That's all we got to go off of.
Well, you could have had more to offer. That's all you have to offer now, because you didn't make the deal that I wanted.
True.
Yeah.
That's my point.
And that's kind of where I'm at, too. That's why I was like, I wonder what he's cooking. I was waiting to see exactly what you guys felt about this, because Scott Harris's own words was what? Aggressive. And I know that things changed as it relates to how the rotation has kind of fallen off, and how, you know, the team overall. We've seen them go through a little bit of a slump here. I still thought, though, that what we would have seen at this trade deadline would have been something that was aggressive to the tune of
Remind me
World
with the aggressive.
Series.
Remind me with that word. I thought he said we weren't going to do anything, in so many words, earth-shattering. I thought that was his recent.
He changed it a little bit later, but early on early on when the Tigers were hot, probably about 40 games in, he said, "Oh, we're going to be aggressive at the trade deadline." And obviously, when things started changing, that changes up what you're able to do.
Yeah, I look at what he said.
Now, it's like, where are they at now in the scheme of not were these moves good moves, but where are they right now in the scheme of that same World Series expectation this year, and not just the long term?
I think the other thing, Kool-Aid, is so many people feel like, whether it's true or not, that you have and I hate this phrase, but I'll use it because everybody's used it, a window with Tarek Skubal. The assumption, and oftentimes that's very unfair. It's scary to use assumptions, but the assumption is that you're not going to have him much longer, so you've got to go for it
right now. That's
right now.
Dog, that's what I'm talking about.
And I don't think as a general manager you can do that.
Sometimes
because you believe that you can re-sign him.
Sometimes as a general manager, I believe in that front office position. Sometimes you overplay your hand. I think sometimes you overplay your hand. I think that may be a situation that could have happened in this particular instance. You think of the season, you start the season, we'll be aggressive at the trade deadline, etc. We're good. We have this lead. We're ahead. You're looking at what it is. It's the Tigers. It's the Yankees. This is what the teams that you're comparing yourself to. You'll win your division. We'll worry about the Yankees down the line. Up, here come the Blue Jays. Up, here come the Mariners. Up, the Mariners passes. Up, the Blue Jays are now interested in the same
Here's
project.
the Astros.
Here's the Astros interested in the same thing. I think you waited too late, and now there are much more excitable options with much more money willing to give up more. Now you put yourself behind the eight ball. I think sometimes when you be the smartest person in the room, it comes back to bite you.
I think when they were the first team to reach 50, 40, 50, 60, most people would say they're good enough to win the World Series.
Yeah.
Now I would ask those same people, are they good enough to win the World Series?
But that's why people like me was kind of ahead of the curve. I never thought this was a World Series team, although they got off to this great start and everything. I said ALCS or bust because last year they could have absolutely made it if Tarek Skubal had it just, he gave you all he had and he had nothing else left. But ultimately, I feel like where this team is now, 2026 offseason, I would feel more like the general public. Yeah, like let's go all in that year. This year, it was kind of unexpected what the Tigers are doing right now.
It's unexpected after the way they finished last year. It's unexpected.
Yeah, it's unexpected that they would get to 60 wins before any other team in the MLB.
Sure,
nobody saw them as the best team in all of baseball.
But leading the division and being a threat, if you win the division, you're a threat to win an American League championship.
Baseball,
okay,
sure.
So I don't think it's a surprise. What makes 2026? What makes the off season more important this coming offseason than the time that they're having right now?
Because that's the actual last year of Scooble, and that is also another opportunity to improve your team from where it is now. There's not much you can do at a trade deadline this late in the season. So that's why I'm not sweating.
Don't tell Seattle that.
Yeah, and I hear you. But once again, if we agree that he's working under certain parameters, he's done what he can do under the parameters he was given. And I think while it's not the best, it's serviceable enough to be like, okay, I'm good. If you can get it back, as a fan, I'm good. And let's just see where the chips fall.
Is it fair to add to KG's part? Is it fair to add still trying to figure out who this team was in 2025?
Thank you. It's a part of that.
How long is it going to take you to figure it out?
I think now you know. I think now you know.
So they have the second best record in the American League. Now you know.
Yeah.
And you're saying let the chips fall where they may?
I mean, we didn't know 2 weeks ago. Everybody was freaking out about this 2-week stretch by the Tigers when they were still one of the better teams in baseball. I get it to a certain degree, but what you have gone off for, what you have so far is, okay, a couple years of them being bad and a year and a half of them being good. We still don't truly know what the core pieces of this team are. Like we know
that
we
would
know
concern
some.
me if you don't know what the core pieces of the team are. I would use Baltimore as an example on how quickly things can change. Okay, I'm sure Baltimore wishes they had done something last year. 2 years ago, they won the American League East. Last year, they made the playoffs. Neither time they made the World Series. They might be kicking themselves in their own ass, wondering what the hell should we have done? We should have done more.
Right, but
so
to that
now
point,
we
they
think,
thought they had it.
Okay,
They thought they had a
yeah,
core,
and
they
their
really
prospects are a hell of a lot better than Detroit's prospects. Okay, so what you're saying is this offseason, you're hoping for fill in the blank, and you think this is the most important year because Scooble's going to be going into his final year. You might be screwed because every single team's like, I'm not trading for him. He's going to be a free agent.
That's true.
Okay,
but are they really trying to trade him at this point? You done waited too long to trade him. I would have did that last trade deadline.
But that's where I think this thing is starting to become something that you question just a little bit more. You scrutinize just a little bit more because as much as we believe they can do something this offseason, other teams are also out there trying to do stuff this offseason too, just like we saw at this trade deadline. And that's the part of it. That's like other teams are not just waiting by saying, you know what, it's the Tigers' time right now to go out there and win. The last time they did that, the Tigers almost probably had a generational lineup, pitching staff, had generational bats. They just didn't get it done. They're not trying to let Detroit just waltz back in there. And all of a sudden you see them get hot over the last part of last season. Best team in baseball over those last 40 games. The rest of baseball was like, they saw this half. If the Tigers are still trying to figure it out, the rest of these other teams at the trade deadline,
we get caught in our own little silos, man. Because if you don't think Boston's going to try to improve, Toronto feels pretty good. New York's going to try to improve. Baltimore's going to try and respond. Texas is going to respond. Obviously, Houston wants to be where they are. Detroit's not the only team that's going to go into 2026 and go, you know what? We're pretty close. There's a lot of teams that feel like they're pretty damn close.
But whose fault is that ultimately? That's on your owner. You got to spend money eventually in this game. Until they put a salary cap in place, you have to compete. And the only way to compete is to spend at some point. So that's why I look at the 2026 offseason and what they've done this year and what they will eventually do. And it's like, okay, it's time for you to ante up.
I don't disagree with any of that. And I know we got to hit a break.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. At this stage, in the trade deadline, it's not about spending money. It's about losing prospects.
I get you.
Okay? That's the difference. You can blame it on the owner, and that's fine. But in this situation, when you're at the trade deadline, that owner is telling the GM in so many words, go do what you got to do. Because a lot of these guys, Eugenio Suarez, how much more money are you going to spend? You're willing to spend the rest of Rafael Montero's contract that was, I think he's going to make $11 million this year? I mean, come on.
That was surprising to me.
Okay.
It was. Yeah.
It's about prospects.
60% of the chat family right now who's participated in the poll, they do not believe that the Detroit Tigers have done enough to protect World Series expectations.
I wonder what it would take to get them to believe they have done enough.
Hey, put it in the chat, guys. We'll bring it up during mailbag.
I do. My guess is
The bat.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's it.
the bat.
See, here's what we want. No matter what sport, I believe, what we want is we want all our warts covered. One was the starting pitcher, check. Bullpen, check. Right-handed bat, can't get there. So the 60%, I think, is basically because 66% of what we perceive to be their weakness has been covered. It's just a guess on my part.
I agree.
Same thing we do
100%.
with the
I think
Lions and the
it's
Edge.
that batter. You know, you want a batter, you want another player, you want another offensive weapon. I think that's what you're looking for. That's what we're missing. The excitement from the Mariners, the excitement of the Blue Jays. They got offensive players, outs and pitchers.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for. The excitement of the Mariners is because they got the guy that we wanted here.
That's right.
And that's what we were looking for. We're looking for that type of player. This goes back to the summer. Oh, we're going to get Alex Bregman. We're going to get Alex Bregman. The deal's going to work out.
Yeah, that's
I'm not trying to bring it up in that sense, but the excitement because he was an all-star caliber offensive player that hits the ball.
Who also has won a Gold Glove.
100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He was really everything you wanted. And in fairness to the Tigers, they made a hell of an offer.
He did.
Yeah.
They really did. I mean, I'm not going to blame the Tigers for not signing Alex Bregman.
No.
I can't.
I was happy that
but
they stood their business, too. They stood their ground as it related to some of the things he wanted to push. Look,
I'm not
Chris
sure
Ellis
you're happy
opened
about
the
it
wallet,
now.
though. But I was okay with it. He opened the wallet in ways we didn't think he would. I was like, you know what? For all of us who didn't think he would do this for the Tigers, he showed up to play a little bit of ball.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little confused at that because he has shown to open the wallet. You may not like the $25 million to Javier Baez. You might not like the $25 million
But it was funny.
to Jack Flaherty. You may not like the $15 million to Alex Cobb, but he has proven to spend some money. Not with the Mets, not with the Cubs,
Right.
not with the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Red Sox. I'm not trying to elevate him to that level, okay? All I'm saying is I think it's a little bit of a misnomer to say, oh, he's not willing to spend. He's willing to spend, but sometimes just because you have money, I don't know how you guys feel about it and how you handle your household. It's none of my business, but I'm not going to spend the money just for the sake of spending money.
Yeah.
I want it spent properly. You know, my wife will tell me that all the time. I had to buy these. Why? They're on sale.
Oh,
they were on
man,
sale
don't get
for
me started on that.
30% off. And I'm like,
Don't get in trouble, Ricky.
but you still spend a lot of money.
Oh my God.
So what difference does it make? You know, you don't need any
Story
more
of my
shoes,
life.
honey. You've had plenty of shoes. I know, but these were all 30% off.
Right.
What's going on here, right? So I'm not a big believer in spending money if I have it just for the sake of spending it.
Quick question about a player that is rumored to be moved this year. He's in our division. It's Quan.
Stephen Kwan is outstanding.
You already know he's not a power hitter, but it doesn't matter. He can just flat out hit the baseball. He is a really good. He is not a great player. He's just underrated. Great, really good.
What he does well,
It's
he
great.
does great. He gets
Okay.
on base, he hits, he extends at bats,
Fair.
which gets to pitch, and he's a very, very good. I mean, he's two-time Gold Glover. Very good left fielder.
Where would you be scared for him to go?
Ooh.
By the way, David Bednar is supposedly going to the Yankees.
Houston
what?
seems to be.
I've heard Toronto in on him,
I don't like that one.
and that would be tough.
Okay.
That would be tough. But you see, what we started this show by talking about is that other teams, you know, you can talk all you want about how good you were in the first half. It's different when other teams look at their needs and say, damn, I got to fix something. And then they go fix it.
Yeah.
David Bednar going to the Yankees, that's a big deal. That team, and it forces other teams, specifically Toronto, to counterpunch the
Yeah,
move.
these other teams are not standing by.
No. So you could talk about, hey, you know, I gave them credit for standing their ground. Well, you're not going to be you're not going to be saying that if you
Walk
get
me
knocked
back,
out in
yeah.
the first round. You're not.
Yeah.
The only way you say that is if this team wins or gets to the World Series and you've got what you received at the trade deadline for next year to help you next year.
Agreed.
Yep.
And you don't have that right now. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
You're trying to win on optimism versus like actual. Yep, we got this because of that.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
Do you think they're good enough? Do you think this team is good enough to win it all?
Chad family does not believe so.
Yeah. And I understand that.
Overwhelming.
I do. That's not a knock, by the way, on A.J. Hinch or his staff because I think they're fantastic. I think they're the best in baseball.
Yeah.
All right? But everybody says, well, Chris Fetter, he's going to fix him. How's Casey Mize's last 3 starts now? How's Jack Flaherty's season gone? The pitching chaos, nice Corvette outside, the pitching chaos is not exactly what it was a year ago, was it?
Nope.
So tell me how that's worked out.
I don't know.
The players still got to make the plays and do what they're supposed to do.